What we're putting in that case is evidence no one has ever seen or even heard about, and it's going to be so explosive. We need to save our country now and secure our election platforms. I'm so excited. We'll see you next Friday, right out in front of the Supreme Court. God bless.
Okay, so that's Mike Lindell. He claims he has some new revolutionary evidence that he's going to show up to the Supreme Court, to the steps of the Supreme Court. This already happened, by the way. And he's going to present it to them and ask them to fast track it because the elections are right around the corner. And that just does not sound right to me. Now, the new evidence that he claims to be filing doesn't seem to be public. Usually lawsuits are public, and lawsuits just don't work that way anyway, to my knowledge, which we'll talk about in a second. But that's the claim. Lindell claims to have the evidence. Now, worst case scenario, assuming that his new explosive evidence blows the lid off of everything and changes all of it, everything. Worst case scenario, people have to hand count all of the ballots. And we can't use counting machines or digital ballot readers, basically. That's worst case scenario. So he's accomplishing basically nothing with this. But let's just hear from my wife real quick. She's going to kind of explain why this is absurd. Lindell claimed to have, she's off camera, so I'm going to be talking to her. Lindell claimed to have digitally filed paperwork to the Supreme Court, federal Supreme Court, the other day. And this case is going to be fast-tracked, hopefully, to happen before, the election happens. Do you have any thoughts on that? Is that how it works? What the hell is happening here?
So, a couple things. First, I am not a lawyer. I'm just a law student who's 2 days away from total burnout. So, you know, take everything I say with 15 grains of salt. And
little shorter than 2 days away, but okay.
And second of all, anyone can have explosive evidence if they just make it up. And that's what he did here. So when it comes to the Supreme Court, there's something that we should cover first so y'all have a full understanding of what's going on. To do that, we're going to visit one of the first-year law students' worst nightmares, civil procedure. So with civil procedure, there's something called subject matter jurisdiction. And that basically means for each court, what is the type of case they can hear? What's the subjects they can decide on? And when it comes to the Supreme Court, it's very, very limited. You can either have original jurisdiction, meaning that you are able to hear the case before anyone else. You're the trial court. You are the one who is making the very first decision. You probably recognize it from Law and Order SVU. That's the court that they go to for the first conviction. And with civil procedure, if you want the Supreme Court to have original jurisdiction, there's very, very few ways that comes up. First, it comes up if two states are suing each other. So, for example, Nebraska was suing Colorado at one point because Nebraska got really, really butthurt that Colorado legalized weed. That would have been within the Supreme Court's original jurisdiction. A couple other things that can come underneath that. You have admiralty law, which y'all are probably most familiar with when it comes to sovereign citizens. It is a real thing. It's not what they say. It's basically any case that comes up in federal waters, maritime law, essentially. And the third case is when it comes to official federal employees like ambassadors, people who it would be a major issue for the United States if a single state was ruling on the legality of an ambassador's actions. And so the Supreme Court has the original jurisdiction. What they also have, and what y'all are probably most familiar with, is appellate jurisdiction. That means that a court makes it through the trial court, or a case makes it through the trial court.
Which is the first level court, is that right?
Right.
Okay.
And then they appeal to an appellate court. That's your district courts. And if a case makes it past there, then they can appeal to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court can make decisions as an appellate court when it comes to things like federal law, constitutional law. And in this case with Mike Lindell, what he wants you to think is that they'll have some kind of jurisdiction over this because it implicates voting rights and voting laws.
So I guess what he's claiming here is that originally he claimed in one of the videos we're going to watch, he claimed that he was going to stand on the steps of the courthouse and file the case right then and there. But he said for security reasons, he filed it electronically. Do you think that there's any truth to that? Is there any way that he actually filed a case with the Supreme Court directly? Is there any way for that to happen, or?
In my official law student opinion, the man's talking out his butthole. You don't file with the Supreme Court in that way. It's not the same as you want to file for a divorce, and so you file papers with the county clerk.
Right, it's really just like the end of the line in appeals, basically, right? And the Supreme Court picks the cases that they want to pick up, right?
Right, and with that process, we'll go into it a little bit more. What you will commonly hear it as is asking the court to grant cert. Now, that's short for a Latin word, which I'm probably going to mispronounce, called certiorari. When you have an appeal and it doesn't go your way, you can ask the court to grant cert. They'll review it, and 99% of the time, they're going to deny it. The Supreme Court doesn't hear many cases at all. So there's honestly no way that what Mike Lindell's talking about, even in good faith, let's say he made it all the way through the appellate process, there's no way the Supreme Court would pick this up.
Right. So that's like the best good faith interpretation, that he went through the whole trial process from beginning to end, and is now appealing to the Supreme Court to pick up this case, which means this evidence is already available publicly because it's part of a lawsuit, right? We would be able to view this evidence before this exact moment. Like he said that this is going to be released when he files with the Supreme Court on Thursday or Friday or whatever. So there's no way that's true.
No.
Almost certainly not,
right.
with very few exceptions, I guess.
You don't really see, when it comes to reading cases publicly, you don't really see the full evidence. You see the documents that were filed. Law students and lawyers have access to special databases that allow them to read that almost in real time.
It's called Westlaw, is that right?
That's one of them. There's also Lexis, and there's a couple others.
They're very expensive, too, I understand. It's like by search. It's crazy expensive.
So you would go onto one of those sites, and you would look at what the trial court and the appellate court already wrote, what kind of briefs were filed. So you don't see the specific evidence, but you would see evidence that the case existed.
Okay, now as far as I can tell, up to this very moment, this case did not exist. So I just want to read a little bit of this article and maybe get some of your feedback on it, okay? I'm just going to go through some of this article. So I just want to read a little bit of some of these articles. We've got 3, actually. It's Mike Lindell's lawyer reveals new Supreme Court evidence. That's on Newsweek. Actually, these are all 3 from Newsweek. Mike Lindell teases explosive evidence before Supreme Court, and Mike Lindell wants Supreme Court to fast-track his case. We'll look at the newest one first. I suppose this is March 16th, 2024. Mike Lindell's lawyer reveals new Supreme Court evidence. Mike Lindell's lead counsel on Friday discussed the new evidence, quote-unquote, he is hoping to put before the Supreme Court in a bid to persuade it to rule that the use of electronic voting system to cast or tabulate votes is unconstitutional. So maybe he's giving evidence for an already existing case? Is that possible or no? Probably not.
As far as I'm aware, there was one case that he was involved in with Carrie Lake. And in that, they were trying to allege that electronic voting was a scam, essentially. And they tried to say, well, just because we don't have evidence that it was hacked doesn't mean it couldn't be hacked. And every court they tried to bring that up in laughed them out, essentially. So yeah, there might be a case like that, but not this. This isn't like the specific one that he's bringing up where, oh yeah, I just jumped straight to the Supreme Court, because unless you're in admiralty law or you're an ambassador or something, you're not going to do that.
Okay, so the article goes on to say, Lindell, the MyPillow CEO and prominent Donald Trump backer, is teaming up for the case with Arizona Republican Kari Lake, there you go, who has said her 2022 defeat in the state's gubernatorial election, that means governor election, was marred by fraud. To my knowledge, she didn't even admit defeat. She still claims to be the real governor, just like Trump claims to be the real president. Lake's allegations have already been repeatedly rejected in the courts. I understand that if something starts on a state level, then it stays on the state level, by and large, right? So Kari Lake filed her lawsuits in Arizona State Court and appealed all the way to Arizona Supreme Court, right? And then, but she can't go to the Supreme Court except special circumstances?
It depends. I'm learning that that's the favorite answer for everyone in the legal field. So they could theoretically apply, or they could ask the court to grant cert about a specific question when it comes to voting. We saw that in North Carolina just recently when they were asking about, I believe it was whether they could redistrict. So you can do that, but usually when it comes to state law specifically, the Supreme Court will defer because there's a balance of powers, federal and state, and you don't want, or I mean, a lot of people don't want the federal government to be able to tell states specifically what they should and should not be doing with processes that they're specifically allowed to manage, such as voting within the state itself.
Okay, now just reading into the article a little bit more kind of reveals what it reveals a question that we were wondering here. This week, Lindell's team issued a filing to the Supreme Court seeking to revive a 2022 lawsuit dismissed by judges as frivolous at the time. It came from Kari Lake and failed Arizona Secretary of State candidate Mark Finchem, challenging the use of electronic voting systems. Okay, that makes a little more sense. So there was an already existing case, it seems, and he's trying to present evidence to revive the case.
Yeah, and I know the word frivolous doesn't really strike fear into most people, but when it comes to judges, that's about as bad as you can get. That usually comes with a major fine, basically saying, how dare you waste our time? How dare you waste taxpayer money? You, not only should this case not be heard, you should be punished for even making us hear about the case to begin with.
Yeah, I think Donald Trump had to pay like a massive fine for bringing a case against Hillary Clinton at some point or something, because it was just ridiculous nonsense.
And that's because the courts don't want to be used as someone's like political tool. They don't want to be used as a weapon against somebody. They're there to decide real cases, not to deal with whatever is going on here.
Yeah, that makes sense. Continuing the article, it says Lake and Finchem's petition read, this is the original 2022 case, I guess. Newly uncovered evidence also shows Arizona's Maricopa County flagrantly violated state law for electronic voting systems. Oh my God, people. Including using altered software not certified for use in Arizona and actively misrepresented and concealed those violations. Just absurd. Speaking on Steve Bannon's War Room podcast, Finchem said he had 3 pieces of concrete evidence that's new that was not known before. Now, do we have access to that evidence? Of course we don't have access to that evidence. He claims to have filed this evidence with the Supreme Court. What was it, like on the 14th or something like that? Or, I mean, this article's on the 16th. And we still like have no idea like what he was even talking about or what he filed or anything at all. We're just like in the dark with this. It's a joke. Let's take a look at the other article. This is from the 15th, the day before. Mike Lindell wants Supreme Court to fast track his case. Mike Lindell wants the U.S. Supreme Court to fast-track his case challenging the use of electronic tabulation systems in elections to ensure his concerns are heard before the November presidential vote. I mean, it was already dismissed as frivolous. It seems to me like it's simply not happening, right? And even if it did happen, there's no negative repercussion for anybody, honestly. It would just make the process way, way longer and more complex, and everything would have to be hand counted, and it would be less accurate, and it'd take more time and all of that other junk. Do you have any thoughts?
Well, that's what they want, is less accuracy. We've been seeing conservatives attack voting rights and who can vote for decades. So of course they would want anything that could possibly favor them. Ultimately, though, with the Supreme Court, even one as obviously biased, and I'm being generous with that term, as the one we have currently, they still don't really want to be seen as a political weapon. They still want to maintain some level of legitimacy.
Which is shot to shit at this point. There's zero legitimacy left, and they know there isn't, right?
Right. And so they're more than likely what they're going to do is not even respond to this, because they don't want to. They have other things to worry about, other rights they want to take away. This is not on their agenda as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, and it wouldn't even accomplish anything. Like I said, what are they even reaching for? Who knows? Anyway.
They'd much rather go after something that has far worse consequences, such as destroying the separation between church and state or creating second-class citizens all over the place.
Which they're working on. By the way, to my knowledge, it is possible to kind of overrule Supreme Court decisions through Congress. Is that right?
It depends.
Okay.
So there are cases where the Supreme Court will be saying, Congress, you should be legislating on this. You shouldn't be making us make decisions on this. Pass a law. Or they'll say, unless there is an amendment to the Constitution, we can't rule in any other way. And so you can get Congress to pass laws. You can get Congress to pass amendments, supposedly, theoretically. And that is one way to kind of undo that.
So if we wanted Roe v. Wade back, that was something that was litigated by the Supreme Court. We could have Congress write a law that perfectly represented Roe v. Wade and pass it through the House and then the Senate and then signed by the president, right? In an ideal world. Is that right?
Your best bet would be an amendment, because their ruling was that this is a state decision. And so if you want to make it federal business instead of state business, you're probably going to need an amendment, I'm guessing. Again, just a law student here. And if you're just going based off of popular vote, that would pass very, very quickly. But unfortunately, with the state of things as far as the actual states themselves, the makeups of the state senates and what have you, the Congresses and whatnot, it would be very, very difficult to get through at the moment.
Okay. Well, let's continue. I'll tell you what, now we have a pretty good grip on what's going on, it seems to me. He's just trying to revive an old case that already existed that was dismissed as frivolous by filing new evidence. And what's the new evidence? Who knows? We can't find that out, can we? Because is it possible to find that out, what the new evidence is?
If when the Supreme Court denies it, they talk about it just to make a point of how ridiculous it is and don't bother us with this, we'll find out. But honestly, I would actually be surprised if he filed anything. I mean, he probably did, but this just seems more like a political play than anything, something to get his name in the papers.
Absolutely.
So I doubt we'll really hear much more on this after this news cycle is over.
Yeah, I agree. He was just trying to get his name in the news, and he started something called the Lindell Action Fund or something to that effect. And the bottom line is people can donate to it, to be used by Mike Lindell to improve election integrity or whatever. I mean, it's obviously completely ridiculous, but that money has to go somewhere, and he has to show his patrons that he's doing something with it, I guess. So he's probably showing them something, right?
I'm guessing he's using this as a jumping off point to introduce his new podcast, Pillow Talk.
Pillow Talk. That's, oh my God, yes. We need that. Mike Lindell. Mike Pillow. Pillow Talk with Mike Pillow. That'd be fantastic. That's good. I like that. Oh God, I'm sad that I'm not the creator of My Pillow because I can't have a podcast called Pillow Talk. Anyway, check out this video of Mike Lindell. This is from, hang on, I got to get the dates exactly right because these happened in succession, and it was right around the same time. So this one was from mid-March 2024. The previous one was mid-March 2024. And then the next one is also mid-March 2024. They're all from mid-March. Then we have different dates. So check this out.
And we're able to add new evidence, which just came about 3 months ago. This evidence is more explosive than any evidence I've seen, and
Explosive.
The evidence has been drinking prune juice.
Apparently so.
I've seen a lot. This is going to shock the world on Thursday, and it's Lou. I've never been more optimistic and excited. I really believe these Supreme Court justices, they have grandchildren, children, they have families, and they have neighbors, and they see the destruction of our country, just like they made the 9-0 vote for the Constitution with the Colorado keeping our great real president on the ballot.
Oh, that's true. They did, didn't they? Colorado basically removed Trump from the ballot. But that was just from the primary ballot, wasn't it? Or
and that one was kind of complicated. Part of the reason they did that was because if Trump was removed from the ballot in Colorado, he wouldn't be eligible to run for president, period. And that would essentially be one state making rules for all the other states, which is really frowned upon. So it's more complicated and more nuanced than Mr. Pillow wants to have everyone think.
Okay, interesting. I didn't even realize that. That makes more sense. Like, I was kind of confused by the Colorado decision, why they would, like, you know, left-leaning people or reasonable people vote against Colorado having him on the ballot. I didn't realize it had far-reaching effects. That makes a lot more sense now. So, yeah, there was a 9-0 decision with the Supreme Court basically to not allow Colorado to remove Trump from the ballot. That's what he's talking about.
Colorado keeping our great real president on the ballot. I believe if they accept this evidence is so explosive that it'll have to be another 9-0 vote. I'm so excited.
Oh, yeah. The evidence is so big and explosive, it has to be 9-0 because he's so, well, you know, it's so important to everybody.
I'm excited, and I'll tell you, we really need everybody's help, too. The only thing that can stop this, we've got to get...
Oh, yeah, that was the end of the clip, I guess. Lou Dobbs tonight. He was on Lou Dobbs talking about this on Lindell TV. Boy, Lou Dobbs really fell from grace, didn't he? Anyway, the point here is that Lindell is like a scam artist. And fascinatingly, this isn't the first time that Lindell has scammed people by any stretch of the imagination. This is another clip. We're not going to watch this one, but just look at like the donation amounts he has here. Just like on his website here. Lindell Offense Fund. $24 donation. Holy shit, that's like a lot of money. And then the next one up is $47. Like what? Oh my God. $75, $100, $250, $500, $750, $1,000, or enter another amount. He is really shooting for the stars with these amounts, isn't he? Anyway, I wanted to talk about like the real base idea behind what he believes about his understanding of the election and like where the hang up is with the voting machines and all of that stuff. The voting machines, Mike Lindell claimed in his video, Absolute Proof, he claimed that they were connected to the internet and that when they were connected to the internet, the votes were all changed by China, and he claimed all this crazy stuff about, like, he had all these graphics up on screen of all these states that were being hacked and all this ridiculous stuff. It was insane. It was just all ridiculous. So the whole thing hinges on the idea that the voting machines are connected to the internet. If they're not connected to the internet, he's completely full of it. Like everything that he said about voting machines or counting machines or whatever, it's all fabricated nonsense, right? So listen to this clip I have here of him talking about his device that he's pushing out to everybody. It's called a WMD leading up to the election. This clip is actually from 2023. It's August 17th, 2023. So just listen to like his breakdown of this wireless monitoring device, WMD.
What's really powerful is the other side here is going to know that this technology exists. Because it's now, correct me if I'm wrong here, but this is deeper. Yeah. It's not just something you can do on it, because there's apps out there that can show you available Wi-Fi networks. This is another level.
Yeah, this doesn't matter.
Yeah, there are apps that can show you available Wi-Fi networks. Yeah, it's called literally any device, period. And I love that these two are talking about things on the internet and
well, you're
security.
A computer science major originally, right?
Yeah. And I've been working on my certified ethical hacking certification type thing. So yeah, I love it. Like these people probably barely can use Facebook, and yet they're acting as though they are some kind of internet security, cybersecurity expert.
Yeah, they probably call it face space. I was trying to get a good shot of the WMD here. Wireless monitoring device. And believe you me, they definitely make a joke about George Bush invading Iraq on trumped up charges. I can't. Oh, here. Yeah, here you go. He holds up the. God, come on. Show me the WMD. It's just this little black box with like, I don't know, like plastic shielding or something. If you zoom in, you can kind of see it. I don't know what it's supposed to do. Basically, from my understanding, you walk into a room at a voting machine or like a voting place or whatever, and this machine detects wireless networks and then transmits that to something, Mike Lindell's like servers that they found a wireless network. Like, yeah, churches and schools and stuff have wireless networks. That's not surprising to anybody. I don't know what groundbreaking like discovery he thinks he's just made with all of this stuff.
And we're in the information age. Everywhere you go, there's going to be a wireless network, even in like the park. And actually, I think even North Korea now has internet in most areas, just on their own like separate internet.
Internet is pretty widespread. It's pretty universal at this point. And Mike Lindell claiming that he's going to detect wireless networks and like, what is he going to say that he's like hacking into them? Or I don't know. Like the dude is just so full of it.
It would pop up, ding. It would say, here's the phone, here's the brand, here's everything. Now, if it was a computer, here's the address. If it's a voting machine, here's a router, here's a polling book, here's a printer.
Okay, so the WMD wireless monitoring device is going to filter out phones and printers and routers and remove them from the list, and we'll be left with voting machines, I guess, is what he's saying, right?
You told us they weren't online. Now think of this. If you're a county...
You told us they're not online. They're not. They're not online. They were never online.
A printer. You told us they weren't online. Now think of this. If you're a county clerk that we always go to and say, hey, we want to get rid of these machines, and they go, no, my machines aren't online. Well, might have heard a lie behind a lie, a string of lies. Well, now that's not an acceptable excuse now, because we're going to be able to go to them clerks and go, are you really going to sit back? Because we're going to know either you're lying misconstrued or you're listening to a lie. Are you sure you want to keep them?
The difference with...
So he's talking about going to county clerks who are responsible for voting machines. And he went to every single county clerk, including one named Tina Peters, who famously got in all kinds of trouble for a bunch of stuff that's hilarious that I don't need to get into right now. Anyway, she got arrested publicly and she kicked at the cop. It was really funny. Maybe I'll insert a clip of it later.
Let go of me! Let go of me! Let go of me! Oh no! Let go of me! It hurts! Let go of Yes, you are, Caleb. Give me my key to my car. Give me my key to my car. Give me my key to my car. Give it to me. Give me my key. Step outside. Take my purse.
Mike Lindell went to county clerks and asked them to validate his already existing beliefs that they were online, and they're just not. They're just not online. That's just what it is. So he invented the WMD and sold 100,000, 200,000 of them to like county clerks and voting, poll workers and whatever, and to just normal people, some of them, and they're all going to go into their voting places and turn on their WMDs, and they're all going to start beeping, and that's going to be an indication that the voting is all rigged. This is just insane. Like, this guy's a true believer, isn't he? You think?
I think he's a true believer, but also I think that he is just really desperate for money, because anyone in their right mind would have told him that this isn't going to work. That everywhere has internet.
That's true. I understand that he has to use money donated to the Lindell Offense Fund. He has to use that for, election integrity purposes. If he doesn't, it's wire fraud, right? But maybe he put in some kind of a little addendum, like in the document, like the website where he gets people to donate to him. Maybe put in a little addendum that says, this money can be spent on absolutely anything that I want at any time for any reason or whatever. Like Donald Trump did that too. It's just embarrassing. Anyway, yeah. Any final thoughts on this?
No, I hope I got everything right.
If you didn't, it'll be cut in post.
Okay, there we go.
Anyway, tell me what you think about it in the comments. I was pretty entertained by it. Let me know how you think my wife did. I'm sure she would appreciate the feedback.
And be nice, please.
As always, these are my fans. They're always nice. You guys are always nice, right? Nothing to worry about.
Yeah, I'm in law school, though. One negative comment will send me into a mental break.
It'll be fine. All right. Well, thanks. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, for real. I'm interested in what you have to say about this. I think this dude's for real to the heart. I really do. I think all the way down, he's real. And he's also broke. Tell me what you think.